Ukrainian air defense forces have successfully shot down a Russian fighter jet operating near the contested eastern front line. The dramatic intercept unfolded during an intense surge of low-altitude flight activity, raising immediate alarms across Ukrainian radar networks. Military officials report that the Russian aircraft descended aggressively toward fortified Ukrainian positions, triggering a rapid escalation inside several command posts coordinating defensive operations. According to Ukrainian radar operators, the hostile aircraft maintained a dangerously low flight profile designed to avoid long-range detection systems, but multiple mobile units tracking thermal signatures identified the jet early. Commanders issued an immediate engagement order once it became clear that the aircraft was positioning for a potential strike run. A mobile missile launcher deployed near a tree line executed the launch sequence with remarkable precision, dispatching a defensive missile toward the target. Witnesses across nearby villages reported hearing a sharp roar as the missile left its launcher, streaking into the evening sky. The Russian pilot attempted evasive countermeasures, deploying multiple flares and executing a tight roll maneuver in an effort to break the missile's lock. But Ukrainian defense technicians watching telemetry feeds confirmed the guidance remained stable throughout the missile's climb. Moments later, the missile struck the aircraft's wing root, a critical structural point, triggering an immense fireball. Footage captured by Ukrainian reconnaissance drones shows the jet losing stability instantly as flames engulfed its fuselage. The aircraft spiraled downward, leaving a long trail of smoke before crashing into an open field several kilometers behind the Russian forward line. Ukrainian military spokespersons were quick to highlight the importance of the strike, noting that the targeted fighter jet had been involved in multiple recent low-altitude bombing attempts. Russian state media, however, issued conflicting statements, initially claiming mechanical failure but avoiding acknowledgement of the missile impact visible in drone footage released online. Emergency Russian recovery teams rushed toward the crash site, but heavy smoke and secondary explosions from burning munitions slowed their approach. Several armored vehicles secured the perimeter while troops searched the debris for sensitive components and the pilot's condition, which remains unconfirmed by Russian authorities. Intelligence analysts observing satellite imagery have noted increased Russian aerial hesitation following the incident. Pilots now appear to be shifting to higher flight paths, avoiding the mid-altitude danger zone where Ukrainian mobile air defense systems demonstrate the highest effectiveness. Ukrainian commanders consider this shift a tactical victory, reducing pressure on frontline infantry units vulnerable to close air support strikes. International reaction to the shootdown has been swift, with defense experts across Europe and the United States calling the intercept a significant development in the aerial dimension of the conflict. The precision, speed, and coordination displayed by Ukrainian air defense collect continuing improvements driven by months of battlefield adaptation and international training support. Local civilians near the region reported feeling shockwaves from the crash and witnessing large smoke plumes rising above the surrounding fields. Some described the blast as one of the largest in recent weeks, emphasizing growing concern among border communities living under the constant threat of aerial bombardment. As of now, Ukrainian defense officials say additional air positions are being repositioned to prepare for possible retaliatory Russian strikes. Both sides have increased aerial reconnaissance activity, heightening tensions along multiple segments of the front line. The situation remains fluid, and further escalation is possible as Russian forces evaluate their next steps in response to the downed aircraft. This developing story underscores the rapidly evolving nature of modern air warfare in the region, where mobility, precision, and intelligence integration increasingly determine survivability in contested airspace. Military strategists analyzing the intercept that Ukraine's continued success against low-altitude Russian aircraft demonstrates a maturing multi-layered defense doctrine. Mobile radar systems, rapid deployment missile units, and continuous drone surveillance form and integrate work capable of identifying and neutralizing airborne threats within seconds. This framework has transformed large areas of the formed line into high-risk zones for Russian pilots attempting precision strikes against Ukrainian positions. Reports from intelligence communities suggest that the downed fighter jet was part of a broader pattern of Russian tactical probing operations intended to test Ukrainian air defense response times. However, the swift and coordinated reaction displayed in this engagement indicates that Ukrainian forces have refined their ability to counter such maneuvers. Defense analysts now believe that Russian aviation units may increasingly rely on stand-off weapons launched from safer altitudes, reducing their presence in contested air corridors. Eyewitness testimony from Ukrainian soldiers stationed near the area of engagement described the scene as intense but highly professional. Troops praised the air defense operators, noting their calm execution under pressure and their precise communication with command centers. Several soldiers expressed confidence that similar defensive successes would continue as more advanced systems are deployed across the region. Meanwhile, Russian military channels have remained notably cautious in their coverage of the incident. Analysts suspect that this silence reflects internal concerns regarding aircraft vulnerability and pilot safety. The loss of another frontline jet adds to a growing list of aviation setbacks that may complicate Russia's ability to sustain persistent air pressure on advancing Ukrainian units. Drone footage captured after the crash provides additional insight into the scale of the destruction. The crater left by the impact, along with the widely scattered debris, indicates that the aircraft was likely carrying a full payload at the time of interception. Analysts warn that unexploded ordnance across the crash zone poses ongoing hazards for recovery teams and civilians. Regional officials have urged residents to avoid the vicinity of the crash due to potential chemical and explosive risks. Emergency response units remain active in the area, assessing damage and monitoring for any environmental fallout linked to burning fuel or destroyed munitions. Ukrainian authorities have coordinated with local administrations to ensure safety protocols are maintained as the investigation continues. International observers are monitoring the situation as evidence from the engagement will contribute to broader studies on evolving air combat tactics in the conflict. The efficiency of Ukrainian mobile systems has attracted attention from multiple defense organizations seeking to understand how decentralized air defense networks function in highly dynamic battle conditions. As night falls across the region, Ukrainian forces remain on elevated alert, anticipating potential retaliatory strikes. Reconnaissance drones continue to scan contested airspace, while ground units reinforce defensive positions. The downing of the Russian fighter jet marks a defining moment in the ongoing struggle for aerial control and serves as a reminder of the lethal precision now shaping battles across the front line. Defense officials report that additional mobile air defense teams are being rotated closer to active hotspots where Russian aircraft have recently increased probing flights. These units, trained to relocate within minutes, are designed to maintain unpredictability and deny Russian pilots consistent targeting patterns. Analysts say this fluid movement creates an environment where any hostile aircraft entering contested zones risks being tracked and intercepted. Further assessments from regional intelligence officers indicate that Ukrainian missile crews have adopted enhanced targeting procedures developed from previous engagements. These procedures prioritize rapid evaluation of aircraft behavior, enabling operators to differentiate between diversionary maneuvers and legitimate strike attempts. By refining these recognition patterns, Ukrainian teams reduce hesitation during critical moments and increase the likelihood of successful intercepts. Meanwhile, Russian command structures are reportedly reviewing internal reports to identify vulnerabilities within their tactical flight operations. Early indicators suggest that pilots may be required to more conservative routing strategies to avoid falling prey to Ukrainian multi-layered defense frameworks. However, such adjustments could limit mission flexibility and diminish the effectiveness of targeted strikes intended to disrupt Ukrainian supply corridors. Across affected regions, drone surveillance remains constant. Each unmanned aircraft provides detailed mapping of aerial activity, allowing analysts to predict future engagement zones with heightened precision. This continuous observation loop strengthens Ukraine's ability to maintain control of contested airspace and respond proactively to emerging threats. In the aftermath of the engagement, Ukrainian commanders reaffirmed their commitment to sustaining high readiness levels across all defensive sectors. They noted that continuous training cycles, enhanced coordination drills, and upgraded sensor networks will further improve the nation's ability to counter evolving airborne threats. Observers believe that this proactive approach will remain vital as both sides intensify operations across the front line.